Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Death Gate. We have finished the realm of air, and now seek to make way to the realm of fire, a world known as Pryan. Let's head toward our ship. Alrighty then. And we have the Book of Pirate here. We're going to cast the Rune of Transfer on it. This, of course, will allow us to get there. Your ship arrives over a field of green, trees large enough to hold cities. One of them has a flat area just big enough for the ship to land on. But something else has caught your eye, a glowing crystal city nestled in a carpet of vegetation. You decide to investigate and land the ship in a clearing nearby. Of course we want to listen to Haplo. So far we have 420 points out of a possible 1,500. Not too shabby, Game Hoarder. Not too fucking shabby. Alright, let's explore. Oh, your ship sits on one of the only clear regions on Pryan. To the west, a structure of mammoth proportions towers over you. Cool little pink plant down here. We rip it from the ground, roots and all. I didn't want to go back in the ship, shit. You stand outside a huge Sartan edifice. A wall surrounds it. There are no obvious doors, only the alcove to the south. A strange animal seated on the ground in front of a bush startles at your entrance and leaps onto a branch. A tree grows in the middle of the patch of nut-bearing bushes. On a branch, an animal perches watching you. Just checking out all the locations here at the moment. You stand at the edge of a thick forest. An old hollow tree stump sticks out of the ground. The forest is unnaturally still. There are no sounds of birds or animals. There's no wind. There's just some strange wooden dudes. You start to wander deeper into the forest when something very large, something you thought was a tree, moves threateningly towards you. You stumble backwards to where you started, and the motion stops. Alright. So we got an idea of a couple of the locations we're going to be going to. Let's go back to this little furry chipmunk fucker. You sift through the pile of shells and finally select one that's to your liking. I think that's all we can do here for now. Let's go check out this tree city. Giant giant trees support your ship over unseen ground far, far below. The separate trees around you are actually just branches of the same huge tree that you stand on. This is a clear, flat area, nestled amidst the branches of this giant tree. You see another tree over a narrow but deep drop. We have a clothesline just hanging here, I'll take that. The chamber appears natural, as if the wood of the tree grew with the space in mind. You step into the middle of a busy kitchen, but on your arrival, all noise and movement suddenly cease. 3 pairs of eyes locked onto you, 2 elven women halt their conversation, and a child drops a broken doll and simply stares.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
The fat woman wearing an apron looks at you over critically.
I'm here to help you do whatever it is you're doing.
I thought so. Humans only come here when they're looking for a handout or they need work. Well, it happens that I'm short-handed right now. Are you willing to work?
Sure, I'll give it a try. What do you need me to do?
I'm glad to hear it. I'm so behind just now that I would welcome anyone's help, even from a human refugee. The king has decided to throw a party with his usual 2-hour notice. Get over to the counter and start kneading that dough. Let's see if you can handle that task before we move you on to anything more complicated.
What the fuck? Do I look like a motherfucking baker to you? You edge over to the counter, pick up a lump of dough, and half-heartedly begin to knead it. While you're doing this, the cook resumes her flurry of activity, continuing the conversation with the other woman as if there had been no interruption. She hurries about the room, tending to several tasks at once. At the same time, she not only manages to keep up her end of running the conversation, but the serving girl's side as well.
I'm worried about the children. I don't have a problem with them playing together, but the royal prince has begun to join in. There are human children in that group. You watch. Nothing good can come of that. No offense, you understand.
Yeah, sure. I'm not offended by a fat elf, don't worry.
Anyway, I've saved the worst for last. There's a human adult out there. He's talking with the children, putting all sorts of ideas in their heads, ideas about all of the races living together, treating each other as equals. Can you believe it?
Equal? Fuck that.
Rumor has it that he's a wizard. A child described some of his spells, and they're like nothing we've ever seen. In fact, the spells weren't even similar to any of those cast by the humans. Either this human is the most powerful to come along, or he's a member of a different race entirely. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Maybe the child was exaggerating. You know how imaginative they can be.
Of course, that's true. Those children can come up with some wild ideas. Still, it would have been exciting.
You notice that the small elf child on the floor has been watching you with wide eyes and unreadable expression. After a moment, she returns to playing with the battered, pathetic doll. She holds the doll above the floor and tries to make it walk around, but the fact the doll is missing a head and leg seemed to make the experience less enjoyable than it should be. After a few moments, she drops the doll on the floor and sighs dejectedly. I got a doll you can have. Fuck it, I don't need it. The child looks at the toy in your hand and smiles. She throws aside the broken doll as she jumps up, claps, and runs over to grab the better toy. She turns it around in her hand and laughs happily.
You're nice. I like you. You have to meet my friends. Come on, let's go.
She runs outside and beckons you to follow. The cook pulls a tray of sweet cakes from the oven. The aroma makes your mouth water. A loud buzzing draws your attention to a small window. You see a nasty-looking insect about the size of your fist flying into the kitchen, also attracted by the sweet smell. The serving maid screams and puts herself as far from the bug as she can. Only the cook manages to remain calm. As the insect hovers over the cake, she pulls out an ugly yellow flower from an apron pocket and crushes it in her hand. She unfolds her fingers and the room is suddenly filled with a horrible odor. The odor makes you feel somewhat queasy, but it seems to have a more substantial effect on the insect, which starts back out the window.
It must be bug season again. Those terrible insects are such a bother. Every time I make something sweet, they show up. seemingly out of nowhere. On one occasion, I was actually stung by one of them. I was in bed for a week.
The serving woman slowly begins to relax.
These petals should do the trick of keeping them away today, but this is my last plant. I'm going to have to get the children to start harvesting the stinkweed again.
I got some stinkweed.
What was that bug?
Their hives appear during every harvest season. The insects that live in them usually leave us alone, unless they are angered or they smell something sweet. That drives them crazy. I always keep some stinkweed around, just in
Stinkweed.
case.
Why does the flower drive off the insect?
As much as the bugs are drawn to the sweet smells of my cooking, they are repulsed by the smell of stinkweed.
Stinkweed.
Actually, stinkweed isn't all
Stinkweed.
that bad until you crush the petals, but then you'd best be as far away from it as you can get.
Where do you find that yellow plant?
I'm not sure. The plant grows wild in bunches, but it's difficult to find. I have all the children out searching for it, and since I reward their finds with sweets, the plant is in high demand. Whenever it's discovered in the wild, the children return with as much as they can carry. They practically drool over that patch growing on the nearest tree, but no one can get to it.
You mean it's going to smell like that in here all day? I think I'm done with this dough, you see? All nice and needed.
Well, you've done a pretty poor job on the dough, but I don't think I'm going to get much better out of you. Leave then. I don't blame you for wanting to get away from the stinkweed.
Stinkweed.
I didn't think you'd ever get here. Come on, let's go. It's through here.
She wriggles through a clump of bushes to the east. You come upon a group of children gathered at the ledge. They're calling to someone below. One smaller child is crying. You glance over the edge and see a young elf trapped on the lower ledge, trying without much success to climb back up.
These are my friends. That doorknob down there is the prince. I guess he finally got up enough courage to go after the golden staff. He's been talking about it long enough. It doesn't look like he made it very far, though.
Let's go ahead and help the little bastard. You lower one end of the clothesline to the struggling prince. He grabs hold of it gratefully and you haul him up.
Thank you, sir, for coming to my aid. I would have made it out eventually by myself, but your help sped things up quite a bit. I am at your service, sir. Anything I can do for you, I will.
So, why did you climb down there? Not the smartest thing in the world to do.
I know. It's a long story. I was searching for the staff. I figured that I wanted it more than anyone who had gone before me. It turns out that I had much more enthusiasm than ability.
Staff? What staff?
I guess everyone isn't familiar with the legend. I'll tell it to you. Ages and ages ago, the gods gave 3 items to the races. To the dwarves, they gave a golden hammer. To the humans, they gave a golden sword. They gave us a golden staff.
That's because humans are cooler, so we got a fucking sword.
The items were supposed to symbolize the race's roles in a new,
You got a
unified
stick.
society. The dwarves were to be the workers, the builders. That's what the hammer represented. The humans were supposed to be the protectors, hence the sword. We elves were the scholars, the leaders, of course. I guess it didn't quite work out that way. After one of the ancient wars with the humans, my ancestor rebelled against the symbolism of the staff. He cursed the idea of living and working with the other races. So he took the staff and cast it into the maw, never to be seen again. He did it in the heat of anger, and soon regretted it. The staff represented more than the ancient legends. It was also a symbol of leadership. Without it, he chanced losing his power. So my ancestor climbed down into the maw to reclaim the staff. He never returned. Since then, members of the royal family have sought the staff. Every few generations, an elf will climb down into the maw, but not one has ever made it back. We don't even know what's at the bottom. We only know that there is solid ground, and the only way in is straight down. We call it the maw because it swallows up anything that enters it.
Enthusiasm won't help you climb down a tree that is many miles high.
I found that out. My father forbade me to go after the staff. Too many of my ancestors entered the maw and never returned. I guess he knew what he was talking about.
How could anything be worth risking your life like that?
Naturally, I wanted to regain the staff for my people. My father would be so proud of me. They would write songs about me. I would have done what all of my ancestors failed to do. Don't you think that's enough?
He looks at you a little desperately.
Of course. Why else would you have done it?
I'll tell you why. He wants to impress his girlfriend, that human. Isn't that right?
She crosses her arms and looks smugly at the prince.
I guess there is someone that I kind of like, and she does happen to be human.
Who is this girl?
She's beautiful. She's a hunter, she's a musician, she's a leader, she's everything I ever wanted. And not only is she human, but she's a princess as well. And she doesn't even know I exist. Now without the staff, I'll never get a chance.
A human? Won't your father be a bit angry with your choice?
I don't care. At least she's royalty. My father will learn to accept it. He has to.
How would possessing the staff help you to get this girl?
The humans believe that the items from the gods are symbols of rulership. Every human leader since the beginning has carried the golden sword. The current monarch, the princess's father, has been ill for some time. While he's incapacitated, she has accepted the responsibility of rulership. With it, she has taken the sword. She takes her station very seriously, and she'll only consider a suitor of equal status. Because the humans equate rulership with the possession of the godly items, she won't even look in my direction if I don't have the staff.
She sounds like a bitch.
Where did you meet her?
I met her at one of our gatherings. Lately, she's been coming to hear the wizard speak. I think she's interested in his message of racial harmony. In fact, she'll be coming to a meeting tonight. I was hoping to have the staff by then. Oh well.
That's all there is to it? You get the staff, and it gets you the girl?
Well, not quite. I have to earn her respect, and I'll never get it without the staff. After that, I'm not sure what to do. I think I have to soften her up somehow. Maybe I need something pretty to give her. Even if I do get in her good graces, I won't know what to say. I always get tongue-tied whenever I talk to her. I just don't know the right words. I think if I had something nice to give her and the right words to say, I'd have a chance.
You don't got a chance in hell. With your goofy-looking ears.
Let me get this straight. You need the staff, the right words, and a pretty present? Sounds like you've been thinking about this for quite a while.
Forever. I decided that if I couldn't have her, I didn't want to go on living. That's why I tried to get the staff. If I didn't make it, I'd be out of my misery.
Enough about this girl.
All right?
Let's talk about something else.
Certainly.
What is this place?
This is the maw. Called that because anything that goes in gets swallowed up. It's a sheer drop, ringed by trees on all sides. The only way to the bottom is straight down. It's an evil place. I'll never go near it again.
Do you know anything about a big, ancient building? It has a door with 3 symbols on it.
An ancient building. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Perhaps the wizard can help you. He's been around forever.
You're the prince of the elves?
Yes, I am heir to the throne. My father is the ruler of all elves on Pryan. If he knew what I had done, I'd never see the light of outdoors again.
Have you met this human wizard who supposedly talks to children?
Of course. His name is Zifnab. He's a human, but he's the strangest human I've ever met. Though admittedly, I haven't met all that many. He resembles you somewhat, but in place of your black hair with white tips, he has white hair with black tips. Do you know him?
Good old Zifnab. My buddy has named quite a few characters after Zifnab.
Oh, old Zifnab? Sure. Known him for years. He's one of my kind.
You say Zifnab is one of your kind? That's strange. He said that he was the last on the planet. Although that doesn't really make any sense either, because there are humans everywhere. Come to think of it, much of what he says doesn't make sense. One thing he's been adamant about is keeping out of the way of the adults. He claims that they'll keep him away from us. Would you do that?
Of course not. He sounds harmless enough.
Whew, I'm so glad. I would really like you to meet him. He does the most spectacular tricks. Even when we don't understand half of what he says, he's always entertaining. If you'd like, I can lead you to the meeting place. There's a gathering tonight.
Wait a second. I have a few more questions for you.
Certainly.
You're at my service, eh?
Yes, sir. I'll do anything within reason. Answer any questions you may have. You look new to this land. I'll be glad to help you out.
Very well. Let's be off. I'll accompany you to this gathering of yours.
Very good. The meeting should be fun, even though I didn't get the staff. Please follow me.
He wanders off into a shaded grove to the southeast. The Mall. As you stroll into a clearing, you notice the children scurrying around, preparing the area. Some gather wood for a fire pit in the center. The remainder relax around the pit on the ground or on a log lying nearby.
He's just upset because his girlfriend is coming and he didn't get the golden staff to impress her.
Don't be a bitch. You guys gonna light up this fire or what? It's getting cold.
Hello, good sir.
How long does the gathering go on?
For quite a while. Zifnab sometimes leaves and returns a few times in an evening. We use his comings and goings as an excuse to socialize and play games. We only leave if we start to get really tired.
When is Zifnab going to show up?
Who knows? Zifnab is anything but predictable. He will be here sometime today, but when exactly is anybody's guess.
Thanks, Prince. I'll speak with you later.
Sure, I'm not going anywhere.
Don't worry, it's dead. Not a live bug in it. Lucky for us.
A couple of boys approach the fire pit carrying a cumbersome papery hive between them. They dump it into the hole. When the hive strikes the ground, the crash causes the others to jump up in surprise.
You don't know the half of it. My cousin tried to light one up when live bugs were still using it. You should have seen him afterward. He almost died.
Well, it's better than carting around a bunch of wood. These hives burn better than anything I've ever seen, and they're much lighter. Besides, I've kept my eye on this one for the last week. It's as dead gets.
The two boys return to the bushes looking for twigs. The elf child ignores you. She's a bitch. A white disc has been embedded in the ground. The surface is smooth and metallic and glows with magic. A heap of combustibles grows higher as the children pile on twigs and dead branches. You can't attract the attention of any children. They're too busy playing with themselves. The child strikes a piece of flint against a flat ground she holds. The sparks fall into the dried moss, and the hive immediately explodes into flame. The children applaud. Yay! Yay! With a pop, a hot ember leaps from the fire and lands nearby. A few children giggle at it, but leave it where it lies. Fuck that, I'm gonna get it. With my shell. You scoop the hot ember up with the shell. You hear some rustling from the bushes. Immediately, the children's chatter stops. All eyes turn toward the sound. A pretty young human woman steps lightly from the branches. She's dressed in hunting leathers, but carries herself regularly. A golden saw is strapped to her waist, and a flute is strung around her neck. She utters no words when she sees everyone looking at her, and instead walks to the log, sits down. She attempts to act unperturbed, though it is obvious that she is uncomfortable with the attention. As soon as the woman arrived, the elven prince became entranced. His mouth dropped open, and his eyes followed her every movement. When she sat down, he seemed torn between wanting to speak with her and wanting to run far, far away. Now he appears to have shit himself, sitting in a place and staring at her while she pretends to ignore him.
Even though you look to be human, I don't know you, and I don't speak to people I don't know.
Yeah, you're not a bitch. The conversation dies suddenly. Look around to determine the cause and notice everyone is staring at the disc in the ground. It started to glow and is getting brighter every moment. A fountain of white fire bursts from the disc. It rises into the air, whipping and spitting about. With a flash, the font disappears, replaced by a somewhat confused-looking man, dressed in a long white robe. As he smooths and brushes his garb, you dive behind a bush out of sight. There's no mistaking it. This man is Sartan, and you don't want to scare him away too soon.
Welcome, my little friends. It's time for the Zifnab show. I hope you're all comfortable. I seem to be without my beautiful assistant. Always liked her outfits, although I couldn't figure out how she kept from catching cold. Well, we'll have to make do without her. I hope you've all been thinking over what we talked about last time. I know you're just dying to philosophize about racial harmony.
Magic, 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 magic.
Hold on there.
Magic, magic, magic.
Whoa! Yes, I know that the races living in conflict is very tragic. That's why we're going to talk about it.
No, we want to see some magic.
Oh, magic! You want to see magic? Let's see. Any of you have a $50 bill? No? How about 100? Put that coin away, son. This trick only works with the high denominations.
Zifnab removes his batter hat and flings a finger on the hole in the tip. Inspired, he flips it upside down and says,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. Where'd the rabbit go to? I could have sworn I had a rabbit in my hat. Maybe it was bats in my belfry.
You stare open-mouthed at the outlandish figure. Without question, this Zifnab is a Sartan. But he's nothing like you envisioned. He seems harmless enough, perhaps even a little mad. But you know how powerful the Sartan were. Best just to observe. The purpose of this whole act could be a lull any potential enemies into underestimating him.
Well, let me try a real showstopper. What was that spell? It always gets everyone's attention. Feather fall? No, something else. Direfall. Fireball? Firehole? Wait, it'll come to me.
Zifnab stands in place, contemplating his spell. The silence lengthens, but the children don't mind. They turn to each other and talk, obviously used to these lapses. Time passes, and in your crouched position, your leg starts to cramp. Involuntarily, you shift your weight. The movement shakes the bush you used as cover and attracts the Sartan's attention.
Is that a new little friend I see back there? Come on up here. Every new friend gets to grab a handful of pennies from the jar. My, you're a tall bugger, aren't you? Wait a moment, you're not a child. In fact, you're not even from Pryan. You're a patron.
The white robe Zifnab wearer whips around and he whirls back towards the disc in the ground. Before he can do a thing, he traces a rune construct in the air. The spell floats into the white disc and appears to catch fire. You charge him, but before you reach the disc, he has disappeared to wherever the spell has taken him. And you have learned a spell. You weave the spell in the air. It floats slightly over the disc. It strikes an explosion of light that obscures everything. Eventually the light fades, but what reappears isn't at all like what was before. Your surroundings are completely altered. The only thing that remains is the disc, but its color has changed to black. The base of a massive branch shielded by leaves is home to a dragon. The branch extends over the chasm between the trees. Whoa, that's a big dragon. You appear on a wide branch. The somewhat weather-beaten Sartan stands in front of you. Behind him, you notice a gigantic reptile. Something you've heard of in stories but have never seen. A dragon.
Hello, patron. Before you do anything rash, I must inform you that we are both under the watchful eye of my pet dragon.
He turns to present a monstrous reptilian form stretched out behind him. Zifnab looks concerned, then kicks the dragon's tail.
Wake up, you stupid dragon! I've got a boogie at 12 o'clock! Unfriendly fire! Traitor in our midst!
Slowly the dragon opens its huge eye and regards you. The look it gives says, I know he's a little excitable, but he's mine. Touch him and you'll answer to me. Then it closes the eye and starts snoring.
Whenever I really need him, does he help out? No, he sleeps. It's enough to make someone go out and get a cat. Well, since you're already in my home, I might as well be hospitable. Coffee, tea, a push off of the branch?
Who are you?
I'm Cortex, the thinking machine. No, wait a second, that's not it. I knew a moment ago. Ooh, that's right. I'm James Bond, Agent 007. I've got a license to kill, so you'd better keep your distance. Somewhere I have a lighter that can obliterate half a continent. Either that or take your picture.
What?
Something wrong with you? I told you, I'm Bond, James Bond. I don't think this boy's playing with a full deck.
He leans over to the sleeping dragon and whispers,
No, you're not. You're Zifnab, the children told me.
Haha, that's just my cover. You a fool, huh? Can't blame you. I'm the best in the business.
Quit fooling around. I know you're Zifnab. Although what kind of name Zifnab is, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah? Well, what kind of name is Haplo?
How'd you know my name is Haplo?
Your name is Haplo? Glad to meet you. I'm Zifnab.
He grabs your hand and pumps it up and down.
You didn't answer my question. How'd you know my name is Haplo?
Why, you just told me when you introduced yourself. You'd better start paying attention to the conversation if you're gonna learn anything.
Try to keep it together, Sartan. I need some information.
Well, let's see. I have a piece of microfilm lodged in my inner ear from my smuggling days, but I can't really talk about that. How about the weather? Pretty sunny, huh? Actually, talking about the weather isn't quite as interesting when it's always the same.
Alright folks, we'll continue talking with this strange individual, Zifnab, in the next video. Be sure to stay tuned.